Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. Welcome to Thankful Thursday. I'm Kylene, and I'm excited to be here. I'm here every week talking about gratitude and different topics that kind of can go around gratitude and how we can use gratitude. I truly believe it's our superpower that we all have and that we can access to really get us to the place that we want to be in our life. And so I'm here every week talking about gratitude. So today I am really thankful. We have a special guest that's going to join us, and I'm just really thankful for her being here with us. And we're going to talk about pain and how different ways you can manage pain, and just bringing some conversation to the topic, because sometimes pain is hidden, obviously, and you can't visibly see if someone has something going on inside. And so just bringing some awareness to it and give you some tools to help you get through it if you're one of those people that has pain, and just to kind of help you to keep moving forward and know that you're not alone. I think it's kind of our mission here and sharing this. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Tanya on with Gracie B Doodle. Here we go. I lost my producer to Aaron's in Vegas right now, so hang tight. There we go. Hey, Tanya.
Hey there, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. It's so hard when the producers are away. I've done that in the past. I'm like, what do I push?
I know it's such a blessing that they're there to help you, but in some ways you rely on them a little too much. But anyway, thanks for joining.
Absolutely. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. Let's see. It looks like Cindy is here. She's checking in. Good
Hi,
afternoon.
Cindy.
Happy Thursday. And hi, Tanya. Awesome. Thanks for joining us, Cindy. So what are you thankful for today, Tanya? How do you start off?
I am thankful for the sunshine. I just drove an hour up to Mankato and back for an appointment.
Mm-hmm.
So the sunshine was wonderful and not being so cold.
Yes.
Not so much into the cold. I don't know why I live in Minnesota. And also that my appointments are going well and my surgery scheduled for November 2nd is moving forward. It's been a long time coming. I was reminded today that the process started in April. So I'm really glad that that is moving forward.
Yeah. I mean, that's a journey before you even get to the event. And so that's pretty awesome.
Yes.
You're doing all the right things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it'll be an adventure for the next
however
long. So
yeah, a major transition in your life for sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And for those that are wondering what I'm talking about, I'm having bariatric surgery on November 2nd. So we can talk about that a little bit more a little bit later in the segment. But
yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that. I appreciate that.
Yep.
A lot to be grateful for sure.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, it looks like we have a few more people joining. Hey, Mom. Happy Thursday. And Christy is here. Good afternoon to you.
Hello, ladies.
Awesome. Yeah. So, okay. So you and I you do yoga with me. You do chair yoga. And then we also meet on the other days for tapping in the morning.
Yes.
And so we've gotten to know each other a little bit deeper than just, online acquaintances.
Right.
Yeah. So I was really excited that you were willing to be here to talk about pain and kind of share a little bit about your story and how well, you don't have to talk about the tools quite yet, but just,
okay.
Just share a little bit about you so people can understand.
Sure. My husband Jay and I have been together since 1999, and 2 years ago, many people already know that he had a massive heart attack. I probably already had underlying conditions, but the stress of his health event and everything after that created the perfect storm for me for everything to kind of just blow up and go out of whack. So my PCOS, I found out I have RA, and then I found out about fibromyalgia, which I didn't think was a real thing. And now I'm like, yeah, it is. So it produced chronic pain, chronic fatigue. And I'm definitely one of those that I don't want to be unhappy. So my whole thing is I choose happy, even if I have to choose happy 5 minutes later. So that's one of the ways I cope. And it's definitely harder some days than others, especially when you're continuing to lose mobility or people are sometimes judgy looking at you like, you used to do all these things. Why can't you do them anymore? Or sometimes I lose my words because of brain fog. And I can laugh at myself now about it. But initially, that's what had me seeking help in the first place is like, do I have early onset dementia going on here? Because I couldn't remember anything. I couldn't remember words or situations. And so now I have a few key people that I can call and be like, okay, what do you call this scenario? And half the time as I'm talking it out, I'll remember. I do that with Becky Cutzer all the time. I'm like, okay, answered my own question. Thanks. Bye.
Yes.
He just laughs. But that's another thing. You have to learn to laugh at yourself a little bit too. Otherwise, it would be so easy just to go into a dark place and stay there. So you never know what someone has going on just by looking at them.
Yeah, those hidden disabilities is way to, I mean, in the counseling world, that's kind of how I was taught to call that, but you have no idea what someone's story is just by looking at them. And we can judge, we all judge to a little bit, right? When you see someone, but being conscious and aware of that and where you take that and just meet people where they're at, I think is huge. And the one thing you said in there that I wanted to touch on, and I think this could be like the main message here is to not isolate, to find your people that can support you, to find your community. And you had mentioned that, knowing the people that you can call to say, hey, can you help me here? It's so huge. Can you tell me a little bit about your community and like how you've been able to build that up to a way that it's been helping you?
Well, actually was sort of in thanks to COVID to a certain extent. Jay's heart attack was January 4th of 2020 and everything shut down in like March of 2020. And I had started, Becky and I had been talking on and off because she lives in South Dakota and we had happened to be at a hockey tournament doing an event. And so we were talking back and forth. And then when Jay had his heart attack, she reached out to me. And then through like the decorators community, the Zoom calls, women in garment decoration was the place where I could go and like share like how I was feeling. It wasn't just decoration related. It's something that Jay couldn't see. So I could just go and be real in that environment. And everyone was very supportive. So I've made this whole group of friends through all these different avenues that kind of cross over to a certain extent. Todd's group and Christine's group, Nikki's group, some people are in all of them. Some people are in one. And just really getting to know people on that level. Well, then COVID ended and I was able to actually go help Becky at a tournament. We've met Sarah Risser. I've met Erin now. I haven't gotten to meet you. And Christine I met at
EEM
and AG, Applique Getaway. And then but also at Impressions last year in Fort Worth. So I've met some people from Women in Garment now. And those kinds of friendships, I don't think without COVID wouldn't really be like substantial. But I think because everyone kind of came together to support one another on Zoom during those times to kind of keep sane, they mean more now.
Most definitely.
Even though COVID was horrible, there was some good that came out of it. So
it kind of was something that I think I don't know if I would have been as active on it on like Zoom, and just being willing to put my face in front of a camera as much. It was hard enough to get me to do this. So that definitely was a blessing out of a difficult event. And that kind of goes in line with what we're talking about here,
Yes.
Finding the positives in those difficult moments is really hard.
Yes.
And so using tools to kind of help you to move forward, the tools of the group, that community you've built it's amazing. I mean, I feel so connected to people that, like you said, we've never met face to face, but I feel very connected to you, and I feel very connected to our tapping group and yoga and our success group and all those people. I haven't met all of them, but it allows you to not hide, right? Because when you're in pain or when things aren't going well, you have more challenges. It's easy to pull away from life and hide instead of reaching out. And that's when those people can be there for you, just like you would be there for them.
Absolutely. And sometimes it's just their little reminders of, not only do I have the pain stuff, I have my adult son has had trouble the last few years. He kind of had like a mental break, and he's been diagnosed bipolar and schizophrenic, which is a horrible diagnosis because it's just really hard to handle.
Yeah.
And sometimes I get really depressed about that. But, some people just know, did you text Blake? If I'm sad about, Blake or whatever, and we just talk it out, and it's like, okay, you're reaching out to him. Eventually, he'll respond or not. And you just have to let him know that you still care. And so, it's like when everyone tends to have, some things wrong, and they actually tend to have, like different things that can weigh them down. It's just a matter of like separating them and not letting them all
happen at once.
Yeah. Implode on you.
Yeah. And in a way that almost happened to you. Everything did kind of happen all at once, but you have been able to get through this. And I think that's what's so powerful about your story and inspirational about who you are as a person. It's because you did the hard work. You are doing the hard work every day to keep moving forward. And that's why I was so excited that you were willing to share some of your story, because it is really inspirational, and you're not alone with going through all of that.
Thank you. And sometimes it's hard because as someone who is bigger, you tend to be judged, especially in the medical community. And I had that situation with an orthopedic surgeon who was very demeaning to me the first time I met with him. And then the second time I met with him, he was demeaning again. And in a very nice way, I'm like, let's chat. And I really am like, what would you have me do? And that's how I got on the path to the bariatric stuff, because I'm like, I can no longer exercise. I used to do CrossFit. I can, no longer take walks. I'm losing my mobility over time. And he just kind of sat back and was like, oh, wow, I just got kind of schooled
in my place. Yeah.
And I finally am like, I'm willing to listen to whatever you have to say. And he goes, well, I don't want to offend you any further. I'm like, well, I don't think that that's possible. So just give me what you got. And he's like, well, what about bariatric surgery? And I'm like, I'm willing to explore it. And so that's how that process got started, because the idea is getting weight off of my frame will help with the joint issues. And my goal for it isn't to be stick thin. It's not vain at all. It has nothing to do with vanity. It's to reduce my pain by half. It's not even to get rid of my pain. If I could get rid of my pain by half, I would be happy, even if I still had pain.
And that's taking a realistic approach about what you're about to go through. I mean, I think even the process preparing for this surgery has been challenging and an adjustment. But then afterward, having those expectations and realistic ones is huge. And then if it's less than, let's say you have even less pain than that, that's a bonus, right?
Absolutely. Then I'll be pleasantly surprised and, very happy. So,
yeah.
And I encourage people to go into things, advocate for yourself, especially in the medical community, because doctors don't know everything. Yes, they are very smart people, but they don't know you. They don't know your situation. But go into things knowing that it might be hard and scary, but that you can take it one step at a time. And for those that, might be thinking about bariatric surgery, but people tell them, oh, you're taking the easy way out. Well, let me tell you, it's not the easy way out. I've had months and months of appointments and working on myself and changing habits. And then once Sunday hits, I start a 10-day pre-op diet, which will be challenging. And then, my whole world changes. So like Thanksgiving, my family will be having Thanksgiving dinner and I'll be having a protein shake or, whatever stage I'm at right then. Yep. And I've made peace with that. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Well, good. I mean, I think it's wonderful what you're doing. And, I think you've weighed the pros and the cons and know that this is the right path for you to continue on. I wanted to share this here. Christy shared a little bit. She said, Tanya and I have so much in common. It's like she's telling my story, and I can tell you from experience, it's hard to be thankful, grateful, and wake up happy. Being productive is hard, and you really have to embrace those days you feel good and get as much done as you can. I'm on my 6th load of laundry as I type this. Woohoo! You're feeling good today.
I am jealous of the laundry. I'm so jealous of the laundry.
Christy, thanks for sharing that. And then she also continued on. It took a long time for anyone in the medical field to take me seriously. All they wanted to do was throw narcotics at you. And Christy, thank you for sharing that. You've been on here before too, and shared a little bit about your story. And it's huge. And just knowing that, you both are being willing to share your story on here, and you have that connection. But I like that Christy wrote, on your good days, you make the most of it, right?
Yes. But also you have to be careful not to do too much. There's this thing called the spoon theory and some people might not know what it is, but you wake up and you have so many spoons and you have to determine how you're going to make those spoons last throughout your day. So maybe if your hands hurt, like with my RA, if buttoning my pants might be too hard. So you wear leggings. You don't feel like taking a shower, you have dry shampoo. You just have to weigh those things. And definitely on the days that I am just exhausted and beat down, I make decisions based on the spoons. And there are days where Jay sends me home. You look terrible, no offense. You're crabby and you would look like you're going to fall over. So you need to go home and take a nap.
Yep.
And I appreciate that too, because sometimes I don't identify. I want to get things done.
Yep. Yeah, it's an adjustment in your mindset, right? And having the community around you of people who support you, and then just being kind to yourself, meeting yourself where you're at that day.
Yep.
Quieting that inner critic that could get really loud at that moment. Like, you should be able to do this, but we all have it. And if you're experiencing pain, it just can get louder. So working hard to be kind to yourself and taking care of yourself. I think managing pain is listening to your body. It is being, nourishing your body as best as you can, getting your sleep that you need to have so your body can heal. And maybe it's more on some days, and that's okay. Or maybe it's however it is. But I think, just that kindness is huge. And
and recognizing just when you have just had it. There's been several days this week where I've come in and I swear I've had narcolepsy. Just like falling asleep at my desk. And I'm like, this is not like me at all. And then, having some humor with it too. I used to be so serious and so hyper aware of like what people thought of me. And now I just laugh, and lives have helped me do that. You go on live and you like, blah, 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 blah.
Oh yeah.
Like, well, mouth isn't communicating with the brain today, and that's okay, type thing. So
yeah, I mean, you're human, and I think we all make mistakes, and just embracing it, laughing at yourself is huge.
Yes.
Smiling is huge. It can really change your mood instantly. So let's say you do have one of those moments, you laugh, you smile, whatever it might be, just to like instantly kind of give yourself any of those boosts of those good hormones inside of you.
And not letting it hold you back from things. I had stopped doing lives for a long time because I didn't think that I would be able to do it, or I don't know. And I went back and rewatched one I did the other day, and a couple of the places where I thought that I might look like I'd lost my mind, I cover it really well when I can't think of a word, and especially when you're doing multiple things at once plus talking. That's not easy all the time. So I felt better knowing that I was being very critical of myself in that moment, and it still came across just fine. So
awesome. Yeah, it is. It's important to just celebrate those wins, right? And to keep yourself moving forward. I wanted to go back to the comments here. Christy also mentioned, I know the spoons, I have overused them and had less for the next day. Yeah. And then Babette said, Tanya is a huge inspiration to me. She is always so busy, so productive. I hope she realizes she inspires people.
Oh, that gave me the goosebumps.
Very sweet. But it's true. You're willing to share. And it's not easy. And I can say, as someone who can be very guarded, I'm working on that, like letting more of who I am out there, because I have that fear of being judged. I have those fears, and I'm using these tools to show up and be here, because I get that and I think you understand there's a bigger message here that we're sharing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That overcomes that fear, right? That message is so much more than my fear of being judged, right? We're doing more good by showing up.
Right. And that kind of is where I started being an open book. It started with Jay and what he was going through, but people would private message me that, thank you for sharing that, because it helped me to make a decision or whatever. On the flip side, I have some people that have known me, since I was in high school or whatever. They're like, why do you overshare? And I'm like, it might help someone. I'm like, you can either stay or you can exit. And I think changing that mindset of not needing everyone's approval has been huge for me. Of letting go of the ones that I just, it's not that they're not good people. It's not that I don't care about them, but I don't need them in my everyday life.
And I like how you put that. Yeah. People come into our life at certain times when they're supposed to, I believe, at least. And then they exit your life at the time potentially they're supposed to. That just doesn't mean that they're a bad person or you're a bad person, or it has to be this event, It's just part of life, and you keep moving on and you do your best to keep moving forward. So, I like that. So what tools have you found that have really helped you, other than the community and sharing? What are some other tools that you're using to help you?
Definitely just the act of choosing and being grateful. The gratitude channel on Volley has been really good, even though I have been very guilty about not checking in every day lately.
That's okay. I'm going to put the link up here too. So if anyone wants to join us on there, it's osg.link/Bali.
And there's different channels. One's the gratitude, one's random. We just get on there and we can help each other out, or we can have a laugh together, or we can commiserate together. So I highly recommend that. So the act of being grateful just creates a calmness in me of like, okay, I do have things to be grateful for. Let's put the negative behind and move forward. Then being introduced to tapping. I originally heard about tapping from Becky a year or so ago, and it wasn't, we did it a couple times and it was great. But then once I started tapping with the group on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I just really enjoy it. And then I went ahead and got the app for myself, because there are times when I'll be talking to Becky or talking to someone and they're like, maybe you need to go tap. Just to kind of, I was actually telling this to a nurse earlier. It just helps you refocus. You can breathe, you can concentrate on stuff. You tap through the acupressure points.
Yeah, and points. Yep.
It just can help calm you down and refocus. And she had never heard of that, the nurse. And so she's like, I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah.
The other thing that was suggested to me was meditation. And I use an app called Balance, because it actually teaches you in like 3 to 5 minute segments different techniques to meditate, either by breathing or counting. And those have helped me immensely with medical procedures.
Oh, I'm sure. Yes.
Having an MRI where I'm already like so claustrophobic, getting through that. When I was having the injections in my knees, a nurse after the fact, she's like, can I ask you something? And I'm like, sure. She goes, were you doing something during the procedure? Because your respirations never changed. And normally when people are getting poked with needles, they're, kind of all over the place. I'm like, yeah, I was meditating. And she's like, I wish more patients would be open to that, because some people are like, oh, that's hoodoo voodoo.
Yeah.
Getting in touch with your breath is huge. And I never realized that before. And then the other thing is yoga. I approached Kylene about doing a chair yoga because the regular yoga classes are too hard on my body right now with my legs. So the chair yoga is fantastic. And I can tell when I don't do it because everything hurts. But more so than that is, just breathing through like the twists. It teaches you to take that breath that you might need, take that pause that you might need if you're ready to rip someone's head off that you don't really want to.
Yeah.
Because, especially like if you're in pain, you have a tendency to act before you think. And I used to not handle that as well. My body language definitely screamed that I wanted to wring someone's neck or whatever. But since I've been doing all these different things, I definitely can tell that I stop now, walk away, do a tapping, or just go outside and breathe or whatever. And it's made a huge difference in my overall life.
Yeah. I mean, you touched on all like the benefits, right? When you're experiencing that pain or discomfort, it does come across, you're not as patient as maybe you would like to be.
Yep.
You're not as clear-headed as you would like to be. Sometimes that person that's the closest to you is the one that's going to get the
brunt of it.
Brunt of it, for sure. But you're taking a positive approach and you're empowering yourself to come back. And so it kind of comes back to the whole success principle, taking 100% responsibility for your life. And the event plus your response equals your outcome. So you're pausing before that response. You're going back to your breath and telling, that moment of just taking a deep breath. It's just telling your body it's okay. And then you might not respond exactly how you want, but it's better than just being reactive.
Yeah, because when I was being reactive, I would then have so much guilt, over the situation, and then I would just um, obsess over it, which then makes the pain worse, and it's like this vicious cycle.
Yeah.
So it's easier when at all possible just to be able to use those tools. And it gets easier over time. It's not easy in the beginning because you're trying to do all these things. And I didn't start all these things all together at the same time. That would have been like way overwhelming. So adding them in, throughout has been very helpful.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because some people are all or nothing kind of people. And then if you take on all those things at once, you might not be successful, and then you might give up on them, and they really could be truly beneficial for yourself and managing whatever kind of pain, discomfort you might be experiencing. So tapping, obviously. So that was the one thing you said. So tapping, we tap 3 days a week in the morning, and then on our own too.
Yep.
But tapping is just a way to, tapping on those energy points. You acknowledge the negative, right? And then you rewire it in your brain with these tapping on these energy points in your body. And it doesn't take long.
No.
There's short ones, there's longer ones. But they really are powerful. So that was the one thing you touched on. You touched on yoga, and yoga it's for everyone. It might not be for everyone. Everyone might not enjoy it as much, but really, it's that breath to movement. It's controlling, be conscious of your movements in your body, and just bringing more strength and flexibility. And that helps with managing your pain and moving forward. So that was the other thing you talked about. You talked about meditating, and you used your app. Meditating, it is a hard one for me at first. Sometimes it's hard for me to calm my mind down. So it does take time to train yourself to meditate well. And it sounds like you've done that, and the app has helped you.
Yes.
And you said that was balance.
Yeah. And there's actually, I think that at least when I joined it a few months ago, they had a deal where they're trying to really bring acknowledgement to mental health in America. And they had where it was like a sliding scale. You could choose to pay nothing for a year, or you could pay whatever you would like, which I thought was huge considering the state of mental health in America. And that's probably one thing I didn't mention. In addition to the pain stuff, my family is riddled with mental health stuff. I'm fortunate that mine is very manageable. I tend to have seasonal depression. But my mom was bipolar. My son's bipolar and schizophrenic. And people don't talk about that enough. And it doesn't mean you're crazy if you have to go on medication to balance yourself out. And I think that that's important for people to hear too, is use your tools that are available. Don't just rely on pharmaceuticals to solve all your problems. Seek other things too, like these other tools.
Yeah. I think that's a great point. In all of this, pain can be emotional pain. It can also be physical pain. And so all of these tools help both at once. And so that's what's really, really cool about it. But I think, the other thing that you had mentioned in there is just really being gentle with yourself, and know that, some days might be more challenging than others, but celebrating, okay, well, today I woke up and I am grateful for that. That might be a win that day. I was able to sit up today and whatever, have a conversation with someone. Or other days it might be, I knocked out, like Christy was saying, these loads of laundry, and that's a thing to celebrate as well. But having that idea that just because you're positive doesn't mean you're actually in a positive mood all day. It just means that you are staying positive about your response. So it's difficult. You can respond in a way, and then continue to be resilient, knowing that, okay, this is difficult, but I'm still grateful that I have this, and this in my life.
Yes, absolutely.
I guess that's kind of the message that I hope people get, how gratitude ties into all of it.
Yeah. And on the gratitude channel, sometimes it's just like, I'm grateful for my dog.
Yeah.
Maybe that day, a lot of people know Asia Grace. Her just coming up and giving me a hug and a kiss on the cheek and just being there. Some days that is what I need. Other days it's, conquering my empire here, whatever, helping someone. And it's finding those things that you can acknowledge.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's huge. And then while you're doing that, just being kind to yourself. Really just know that kindness is huge. Being kind to other people obviously gives us all those good hormones inside of us, and that can help change our mood. Yes. But also imagine if you're as kind to yourself as you are to other people, how amazing that would be. And so just being aware of it, being conscious of that is really important. Looks like Becky popped in. Thank you for joining us. I really enjoy the tapping sessions. Yeah, I do too. It's funny because 6:30 in the morning, that's what it is for us in Central Time Zone. It's early, but it's not too early. Right. It's like, for me, it's the perfect time before everything starts and I can reset. So if anyone wants to join us, please reach out to Tanya or I, and we'll figure out a way, for you to join us. We're open. It's like coffee talk in the morning.
Yeah. Sometimes we spend more time chatting and just working out, whatever problems we foresee for the day, or just, have a good time. But then we just do a shorter tapping meditation and it's still all good. So
yeah. And then that comes back to the community. You have the community of people to know that you're a part of something. For me, I think that's really important. I'm a people person. I don't like to be all alone all the time. So just connecting with like-minded people is really important.
And it's encouraging too, because like I've shared on the gratitude channel, I'm finally, pressing the button and I'm going to teach at the next Everything Embroidery Mart. And part of me is like, oh my gosh, I actually said yes.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be good. If you surround yourself with people who encourage you, then your life is just going to be all the better, and you can do anything that you put your mind to.
Yep. So. Because you could easily find the people that are going to tell you, you shouldn't do it. We can find those people in our life, but you're choosing to just focus on those that are bringing you joy and positivity and support.
Yep, absolutely.
That's awesome. Absolutely. Looks like Becky wrote, oh yay, so proud of you. It is awesome. That was my first trade show. I guess it'll be a year ago in April or March that we went to Chattanooga. My first one. I don't know if they were quite ready for my topic, but that's okay. I survived it. And then I did one with Aaron, and that one was awesome.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah. I mean, he's kind of born to do that stuff. And I believe in the message. So again.
Well, it's really funny and kind of off topic, but we're kind of parallel. We both have husbands who are very driven with big ideas. Yeah. And I know for me that was very overwhelming for a long time. And now he kind of makes fun of me. He goes, more people in the industry know you than know me anymore. You're like, well,
yeah, you blossomed. You realized your gifts, and you could share that with people, and people love you. Yeah, you have. So I need to share this before I forget. So people can find you. So if they want to reach out to you, if they want to see what you're up to, they can go to Gracie B Doodle Designs on Facebook. And then on there is the link for your Etsy store if you're someone who does want designs, things like that. But you also have a lot of other ways you could support people too.
Yeah, absolutely. Gracie B Doodle is just, it started off as like a side hustle, but we've kind of lumped it underneath our physical business. Jay and I have been in business since 2005 doing everything in the decorating realm. And then also doing printed products and things like that, and helping brand businesses and things. So, and then we also we became the national distributor for Iris Threads in the last year. And so now we're going to more trade shows too. That's which awesome. is really fun for him and I to do together. Even when the truck gets broken into and there's, a big mess, but
your last trip was adventurous.
It was. It definitely was. So I just encourage people to branch out into different areas that might help them. Try some of these things. I'm sure there's other things out there that, could be tried as well. The other thing I was going to mention is therapy. I made the decision this year to see a therapist, and I do it on Zoom because I had 3 deaths within a very short period of time, and I just was not coping very well. It was one of my physicians who was also a good friend, 2 little kids, another good friend, and then my friend Laura died of COVID in December and left 3 girls. So there's nothing wrong, with taking meds for depression, of just talking to someone who's not involved in your world.
Yeah.
And that's what I told her. I'm like, it's nice to just be able to go and verbally dump and not be judged because she has no fit into my life as a whole. So, and just to get some validation or some ideas from her on other things to concentrate on was very, very good too.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad you shared that. Yeah. Counseling is, it's a tool that you can use, and it's a professional, safe place for you to let out what you hold in that you don't share with your loved ones because you don't want to hurt your loved ones' feelings. Or they're going to give you their way of helping you, but they're still personally involved in your story. So having that genuine relationship with a counselor is huge. And so I'm glad you're doing that. That's great. Yeah.
And Zoom, again, and flourished after COVID. I didn't want to see anyone in my town because I live in a small town. So I chose to do Zoom appointments with someone that's an hour away.
Awesome.
Works out great.
Yeah. Yeah. And the more comfortable you get in this environment over Zoom, you can really, let your guard down and feel like you are in that safe place still. I think that's huge. That's awesome. Well, good. Thank you for sharing that and bringing awareness. That's a really good point. Yeah. So, okay. So people know where to find you. If you could leave anyone with anything today, what would you say?
My biggest thing is use your choice to choose happy. Even if you wake up in just the most horrible mood, make the choice to be happy. And then if you have to do it again 5 minutes later, do it. And if you're just having that bad of a day, maybe you need some self-care, do something nice for yourself, go for a walk. I know it's not possible for everyone to ditch work for a mental health day. Kind of a perk to being your own boss, although kind of not, because you end up having to do the work at another point in time, but
you have control over that.
The control is there, that you can do it with a better mindset, or set yourself up for success with the people that surround you. Don't let negative Nellies be the people that are right next to you side by side. Have the people that you can call and just be, it seems like Becky and I talk several times a day. Called her one time. I'm like, okay, the restaurant where you go and you put everything in a bowl and you take it up and they grill it in front of you. And she's like, who hot? Like, yep, thank you, bye. Just something like that is makes your life more full.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. And if people are looking for a community, start reaching out to Tanya and I, and, we're happy to have people join us for tapping, whatever it might be. Join us for yoga. If you want to try a class, you can go to riseshine.yoga and sign up. You're not signing up for a package, you're just trying a class. Do that, connect with us in any way you want. Just reach out. You're definitely not alone when you go through all this.
And I think the benefits of yoga are so far reaching, not just physical, not just mental, it's all things together. I could be in far worse shape if it wasn't for yoga. I went for a follow-up for my back issues, and I know I shared this with you, Kylene, but they have you bend every which way, and the physician assistant was like, you're really flexible for how much pain that you're in. And I'm like, it's all because I do yoga a few times a week. Otherwise, I can't move, and that feeling of not being able to move your body or being able to bend the way you need to is almost suffocating to me. So there's definitely so many benefits to yoga. I just really, and I enjoy that it's on Zoom. I don't have to, go anywhere. Or,
it can meet you wherever you're at. Yeah. Yeah. And it's live, so we can have a little bit more of a casual environment to allow for different adaptations depending on where you're at. So,
and if you're doing it at home and you have a dog, it's okay. Yes. Enjoying yoga as my dogs do.
Yeah. Joey sometimes makes an appearance, mostly with her voice, but yeah, so true. Well, Tanya, it's been awesome having you on here. I think people really can benefit from your inspiration, your story, and all these tools that were discussed here today. If anyone, again, has questions, you want to go deeper on anything, just reach out to one of us. We're happy to help.
Absolutely.
So, yes. Yeah, well, awesome. Well, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Oh, I wanted to share this real quick. Becky wrote, even from the hotel room. Yes, we can do yoga from the hotel room. Oh, love it. We did have fun with that. Okay, so Christy wrote, my doctor the other day said the same. You look great on the outside for what's wrong on the inside. And I credited that to my tapping and yoga and good friends like Kylene and Tanya. Oh, thanks, Christy. You're awesome. Babette said, thank you, ladies. Thank you for joining us today. Appreciate it. All right, everyone. Have a wonderful Thursday, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.